So we're live, sounds like. Very good. Well, good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to welcome you to a regular meeting of the Madera County Cal ID Remote Access Network Board. Today is Wednesday, March 17th. Happy St. Patrick's Day. And we'll ask for a roll call at this time.
Member Lawson,
Present.
Member Revere,
Here.
Member Pogue,
Here.
Member Moreno, absent. Chairman Poitras,
Yes.
Member Palmer,
Here.
and Member Perez, absent.
Okay, very good. Will everybody join me as we pledge allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody. Do we have any additions to the agenda?
There are
Nope.
no additions.
Okay. Public comment. The first 15 minutes of the meeting are set aside for members of the public to address the board any matter under the jurisdiction of the board not appearing on the agenda. We will not take action on any items presented under public comment, and speakers are limited to 3 minutes. Anyone addressing the board is asked to print their name clearly on the speaker sheet at the podium. And are there any members of the public wishing to address the RAND board? Seeing none, we'll move on to public session. And the first item is the consideration and approval of the minutes for October 28th, 2020.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from October 2020. Roll call vote.
Who motioned?
I did.
Okay.
Dino?
And who seconded?
Tyson.
Member Lawson,
Yes.
Member Pogue,
Yes.
Member Revere,
Yes.
Member Palmer,
Yes.
and Member Poitras.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Very good. Thank you. Going on to 4B, discussion and consideration to appoint Under Sheriff Patrick Majeski as the Seat 3 alternate for Sheriff Tyson Pogue. So,
Right. With the vacancy of Sheriff Farney, I've taken as of October meeting, the primary member spot, and so we're in need of a alternate, and I'd like to appoint Patrick Majeski.
okay, very good. If there is no other discussion regarding that appointment, I'll accept a motion for action.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve item 4B. Roll call vote.
Member Revere,
Yes.
Member Lawson,
Yes.
Member Pogue,
Yes.
Member Palmer,
Yes.
Chairman Poitras.
Yes,
Vote passes 5-0.
very good. Congratulations.
Careful what you wish for.
Very good. Super. Okay. 4C would be discussion consideration appoint Assistant DA Jeff Dupras as the Seat 4 alternate for District Attorney Sally Moreno.
District Attorney Moreno would like to replace outgoing, I believe it was Angie Hill. She's no longer with the department, with her new Assistant Deputy District Attorney, Jeff Dupras.
Okay. Very good. I'll accept a motion for action.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve item 4C. Roll call vote.
Member Revere,
Yes.
Member Lawson,
Yes.
Member Pogue,
Yes.
Member Palmer,
Yes.
Chairman Poitras.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you. 4D, discussion on proper procedure to surplus old live scan equipment.
I brought this actually
Okay.
before the board. We have some old live scan equipment in our where we store things. We're just trying to figure out where they should be sent or surplus to. I believe they belong to.
Do you know if the county has already removed the hard drives from the equipment?
I have no idea, to be honest. They're just sitting in our bay, actually. We got new equipment, and the other ones they put in our bay.
So can this board vote to surplus the equipment, Chairman? How does- Procedurally, we can figure that out as far as removing hard drives and taking care of the asset tags, but
Right.
or do we even need to do that?
I was just looking at the item here, discussion on the proper procedure to surplus old live scan equipment. So,
Maybe we can research and come back, and then we're gonna have another meeting to approve the budget anyways.
right.
So my understanding from the county process is if it's county-owned equipment, the first thing that would have to be done is, as Officer Sheriff Pogue mentioned, is you have to take out the hard drives and then remove them from your office inventory. I don't know whose inventory the live scan is in specifically. Is it with the sheriff's department? I'm assuming. But it would have to be removed from your inventory and then it can be disposed of.
We'll research, and if we can bring this item back next time help me remember to put it back on the agenda, we'll figure it out before the next meeting.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I'll be in touch.
Excellent. Thank you, Sheriff. 4E, update, discussion, and direction on the Cal ID remote access RAND board budget expenditures, equipment, and goals for the fiscal years 2021 and 21-22.
I'd like to invite our alternate up to speak and give us a quick rundown.
Patrick Majeski with the Sheriff's Office. The business office of the Sheriff's Office proposed this budget based off looking at last year's budget. The current fund balance when this proposed budget was drafted was $880,000. Our estimated revenue coming from DMV for fiscal year 21-22, we seem to think it's going to be about $136,000. And then interest from that $7,000. So you can see there the estimated total revenue for the year 21-22 should be somewhere around just over $1 million. And then looking at expenditures for the next fiscal year, the next project that's due on the list is an upgrade to all the LiveScan workstations that we have in the county. And at this point, I have no numbers back from Thales on really the cost, so I just projected about $150,000 for that upgrade. And then the administrative time, the 2% of the revenue, $2,700 there. And connection costs, that's just the ongoing connection cost for the networking and going through IT, about $7,500. Maintenance agreements for all the LiveScan countywide is consistently around $94,000 per year. It fluctuates a little bit here and there, but that number should be sufficient. And then the maintenance agreement for the APHIS system, which was the last upgrade that we're just now going live with next week. So that project has concluded. That maintenance fee is $47,000. And then firewalls, which is an IT portion of the connectivity, maintenance fees, $3,300, $33 there. And then part of last year's expenditures that we wanted to kind of look at was the blue check devices, which are the handheld devices that we can use out in the field. That kind of took a backseat to the initial APHIS upgrade project. So we want to roll that over to this year because we want to definitely continue with that project and finalize the mobile devices out in the field. And at that point, we had projected the numbers to be about 90 devices for all the agencies in the county. And those devices cost $753 each. And then with that is a yearly licensing fee, which comes with that portion, and it kind of, see it down there, it's $45,000. So that whole project there, you're looking at about $112,000 or so to get those mobile devices in the field. And then there's a small configuration fee that we built in there because we don't know if there's going to be some sort of other connectivity devices we're going to have to purchase to make those work through all the agents. So ultimately, The projected expenditures for 21-22, we're looking at about $432,323.
Okay.
Anybody has any questions? Open.
Any questions? Thanks for going over this and providing some good background.
So since we don't have a solid estimate left on the live scan, I'd like to propose that we come back with an exact quote, more accurate estimate before we make any motion to approve, just to make sure we're within
Okay. All
we
right.
can do that. So maybe the motion is to provide direction to Under Sheriff to firm up those numbers and come back with a proposed budget at the next meeting.
Yeah, I think probably just that direction is probably all that's necessary. Yeah,
Okay.
perfect.
Yeah, once I get those figures, we'll bring them forward back to the board.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And 4F, update and status pertaining to the 2018 proposed amendments to the bylaws of the Cal ID Remote Access Network Board. We have those amendments.
This Wiley.
Yeah, I can probably shed some light on this. By the way, just as a reminder, I'm Wiley Driscoll, your counsel. I meet with the sheriff and the undersheriff enough that they remember me, but the rest you might have forgotten. I went back through the notes in this file. So this occurred before I became the board's counsel, but I looked through the notes that our predecessor who left down south to another firm, what went on here. So it looks like at the March 28th, 18 meeting, the redlined version that you have there of the amendment was proposed. Most of it's cleanup stuff. There was some stuff that didn't match with the JPA bylaws or agreement and these bylaws. Really nothing that's substantive. There was a provision in there. The way it was written before, it really only looked like the auditor controller's office was entitled to reimbursement for as far as county staff, when really it includes the clerk and then also county counsel's office. So in the red line version, added a clause in there to make that clear. Nothing really substantive changes. You wouldn't be spending more. It's limited to 2%, but it just makes clear who gets it. It's all of staff. But according to the notes, it looks like the board at that time got kind of stuck on that clause. He explained the fact that it wouldn't be any increase of expenditure, just 2%. It's just clarifying things. According to her, the board asked how much money I guess that means county counsel's office have billed them and how much the clerk has billed them. He didn't have that information at the time. And so they decided not to approve those amendments without further information. And I think that's basically sat there since. That's the back history.
Okay, very good. Any questions in regards to that? If not, I'll accept a motion for action.
So to confirm, are we able to do a motion to approve these?
Technically, the agenda description just says update
Right.
and status.
Okay.
But you might want to take a look at it,
Hmm.
Back.
come back in the next meeting.
Okay.
Take formal action on it. Now that I've given you.
Excellent.
Do we have an update on the expenditures that were in question?
I don't have the numbers right now, no, just because I didn't know this was coming back up, but we can, at least as far as county council, we can give you numbers.
The
I don't
clerk
know
of
about the clerk.
the clerk of the board has never billed RAND for their services.
And I'm not even sure whether or not county's been reimbursed by RAND, but so
Yeah, I think
move this to another meeting and come back with some numbers or some more information, and then
I think it's
agendize it at the next meeting.
Isn't it listed
Action.
2%.
It's always going to be limited to 2%.
2%. Yeah.
It's a matter of
Is that what the admin cost was? Yeah.
Mhm. So it's already built in.
I'm not sure.
It's I would say that it's probably up to $7,200 because, the RAND meetings are so infrequent and they don't really take place on a regular basis. And activity with the RAND board can be very little or maybe a little bit north of very little. So if that's the case, what we ought to do is to track, the time that, the clerk of the board spends on activity as well as counsel and so forth, and then bill the RAND board for that time. So, and I'm sure it'd be well within the $7,200, but we just need to keep track of those hours.
I believe our work with the board should be charging the costs off to the RAND board. We should pick all those up
Mm-hmm. Right,
because it's not the regular duties.
right.
Do we have a start date for that?
Today?
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of hard to go, I'd love to say, oh, let's go back 2 years or 1 year and all that, but, unfortunately, that's difficult to determine. We have a new clerk of the board and so forth, and, it just kind of gets messy, I think, and so
Wouldn't
think-
it be adoption of the bylaws?
Right.
Then
Okay.
it would take effect?
okay.
Yeah, because that's an
Yeah.
addition, correct?
Mhm.
Well, no,
clarification.
technically, they were entitled under the previous bylaws. It's just the way it was written, and that's by statute too, and by the JPAs. But the way it was written, it just wasn't expressed, and so that all the addition was to make it clear that the clerk's office and county council were entitled to reimburse. But it would be up to board date you wanted.
That would make it effective when we
Accept
come
billing.
back and adopt these.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mr. Driscoll, can I ask one quick question that
Sure.
I didn't quite see in here? What's the city selection committee for seat 6?
Where you at?
Seat 6 on page 2, the top of page 2.
Oh, of the amended.
Correct. It was mentioned in the originals, but I didn't see anywhere within the bylaws specifically what the seat selection committee consisted of, or
The clerk's office could probably answer that for you.
please.
It's like a hot potato right here. You answer it,
Well, we had our first meeting and they elected me as chairperson for that city selection committee, along with the mayor of Madera County, or City of Madera, which is Santos Garcia, and then, of course, Diana Palmer as being mayor of the city of Chowchilla. And we make appointments according to which boards and commissions need appointments. So the last meeting that we had, we did not make the appointment that was required for RAND until Mr. Garcia had more information on the RAND board and the responsibilities and duties.
Does that need to be clarified in our bylaws as far as we're using that city selection committee, or is that clear enough?
It is in there. So your bylaws stipulate that the city selection committee is the one that makes the appointment to seat 6 on your board.
Right, but specifically, is that, I guess, Wiley, what I'm asking is, the way we're doing, is that okay, or do we need to specify in the bylaws that the city selection committee referenced here is the one created by the county for these other all-encompassing groups?
I think
mean,
there's only
I
one
don't-
city selection committee.
What was that?
I mean, I think there's only one city selection committee that's recognized by the cities in the county.
Yeah,
Okay,
so-
so that's like an
the
official
city,
group,
the
right.
city selection committee is actually government code. It's mandated by state
Perfect.
government code, section 50270 through
Mhm.
50279.2.
Good, okay.
Yeah,
I'm
so you're not going to have any risk of problems or confusion.
Yeah, it's an interesting committee and code and process. It's if you don't have any institutional history or whatever, any institutional memory, it can go away quickly because we meet so infrequently and kind of like, well, who was on that? And could be a whole different set of people from the last meeting. So, yeah.
Right. If you want, I can shed a little light also on what we just did. So for the city of Chowchilla, the mayor and mayor pro tem are primary and alternate for the city selection committee, and all we actually do is just confirm what appointments we've made already for the city of Chowchilla. So let's say for even, we don't do it for this, but for like MCTC or one of them was LAFCO, things like that. We'll just let the city selection committee, they know who we've already appointed. So it's just it's almost redundant, but that's
government
the process.
For you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm good.
You said it.
Very, very good. So we'll bring the bylaws back then for official approval. We'll agendize it accordingly, if that's okay with everybody. And going on next, if there's no other questions regarding the bylaws, member and staff reports. One thing I'd like to mention is, Sarah, you were talking about elections are necessary.
Yes, again, that goes back to your bylaws.
Okay.
It states that your positions that you nominated yourselves for are only good for 2 years.
Okay.
And it needs to be longer. It states that the officers of the board of the chair shall be the chairman and vice chairman. Each officer shall perform the duties normally incumbent upon such offices. Officers shall be elected at a regularly scheduled meeting and shall serve for 2 years. Nominations shall be made from the floor. Voting shall be by secret ballot. If there is only one candidate for a position, that candidate may be elected by voice vote. Should the office of the chairman be a vacant position, the vice chairman shall conduct the election of a new chairman.
Okay.
And that's in section 3 of your bylaws,
Okay.
of your 2015 bylaws.
So I believe that, if we go back in the minutes, I'm sure I've been chair for more than 2 years, so we need to have that election. So why don't we, if it's okay with everybody, why don't we agendize that for the next meeting, election of the chair and vice chair? And if there's any criteria for eligibility, like for instance on the Madera EDC, the electeds that are on the Madera EDC cannot serve as chair. Only the non-elected appointments by the various chambers can serve in that role. So I'm not sure if there's anything like that in regards to RAND, but if you could provide us with the rules or qualifications for that position as well.
Okay, it doesn't state anything like that specifically in your bylaws, so I'd have to look outside of our bylaws to see if
Okay.
there's something other that mandates that.
If there's not, then that's good, because then it opens up all the members to that position. So, okay, so if it's okay, can we agendize that for the next meeting? Okay. And then we'll have secret ballot. I can tell it's going to be a race,
A real quick question is that the specific officer reference also in the 2018 bylaw amendment?
And which one is that?
Well, in the 2015, it's under section
Section
3
3.
entitled officers.
Yeah, that
No
hasn't been
change.
changed.
Okay, very good. And they say no whisper campaigns, right? Okay, very good. Are there any other comments from a member or staff? Very good. Okay, sounds like there's no comments. And then our next meeting, will that be determined based on how quickly we get some answers for some of these things, or should we
2 months.
1 month?
So May, we do it in May.
Or did you say one, Patrick? Or okay, all right, yeah,
About the beginning of May.
yeah.
We
Mhm.
just look at it right now and try to schedule out so we don't have to.
So that's another thing I should probably talk with y'all. Your bylaws specify when you're supposed to be having your meetings. And we're
We're
not.
learning today.
So hold on, let me find that section
Okay.
really quick.
Thank you.
The fourth Wednesday each month at 3:30 p.m.
Yes, thank
Hmm.
you.
Well,
Fourth Wednesday, yes. And so we're off a week and we're off a few hours. Just
so that means April 28th. That'd be the fourth Wednesday of April.
so is that sufficient time for you?
Yeah, that,
Yeah.
that date and time will work fine, and if something comes up, I can let the sheriff know and we can readjust at that point.
Excellent.
And one thing, for some reason, it didn't make it into the line version here, but it looks like according to these notes, there was some discussion at that March 28th meeting, whether or not that ending that section, because obviously you're not meeting every month. And one of the proposed amendments was to have either a yearly or a biannual or twice a year meeting, and then anything beyond that, you can always schedule special meetings. Guys, so
I'd be interested in that.
I mean, we could
As I
we could we could make that amendment red line version, and then going back in the next. I mean, being it once a year or twice a year, or what direction do you think?
Probably twice a year.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
No, was that a special meeting
Twice.
supplement?
February and August, something.
Twice a year.
Do we need to specify when that will be specifically?
You don't have to. You could specify frequency and then just set it as you.
Budgets are due in February. Yeah, if we can just leave it open to leave twice, to meet twice a month,
All right.
that'd be or
Twice a year.
twice a year. I do like the company, but
Yeah.
There you go. All right, very good. Well, if there's no other comments, we shall adjourn. Thank you.